resources. So those were the key mandate that GDC had.
You seem to have got your hands quite full. What strategies have you put in place to achieve the particular mandates?
Now, we have strategies starting first of all from the development plan, in that for us to be able to really achieve the Vision 2030, one of the key development plans was to provide geothermal energy for the provision of power. So that involved therefore a GDC between by 2030 to be able to bring in 165 megawatts of electrical power equivalent of steam to the grid. So that involved therefore of having 3 geothermal prospects, 465 in Menengai, 300 in Maringo Silali, another 300 in Suswa. That's the development part. Then the other one is now where you're talking about the field plan. And the field plan, therefore, was to incentivize investors either to join the supply chain as a steam field model, the one that we've now done for Menengai, and we intend to do for Suswa, and we intend also to do to Maringo Silali. This is that GDC goes all the way up to the point where they produce steam, and then thereafter the independent power producers come in. The other model that we are trying to also look at is the feasibility model, where an investor can come in at whichever stage, all the way from the time when we are doing feasibility studies. They can join in at exploration stage, at appraisal, all the way up to production. So now those are the strategies that we have. And then the other one is so that we can be able to provide this expertise that we're talking about in capacity building. We also have a geothermal center of excellence, where we provide courses in geoscience, drilling technologies and the like. And so far we've done about 600 trainings. No, we've actually trained about 600 staff, and from various areas within the region. We've done almost about 40 consultancies external. So all that are the strategies that we have in place to be able to meet our mandate.
Interesting. When I am 12 years into existence as GDC, which would you single out as the major milestones that the company has made?
The major milestones, I can put them in 3 areas. One is that initially when GDC was incorporated, we had just started drilling, and we had only 2 rigs. So we were able to procure 5 others. So now we have 7 rigs that if we are not drilling, we can then provide for leasing out. And then the other milestone that we also did is that immediately thereafter, from 2011 to 2013, we were able then from 2009 to 2011, we were able to put into the grid about 350 megawatts, which is there currently supplied to Kenyan and thereafter to the grid, and the customers are already enjoying very reliable and cheap energy from geothermal. Then the other milestone that we did is that we started another prospect in Menengai in 2011. And so far, we've been able to do about 65 wells in Menengai. We've been able in phase 1 to have a resource of about 170 megawatts, which is available therefore to the independent power producers to be able to generate power and sell to the grid. We've been able to move from there to phase 2, where we've done another 8 exploratory and appraisal wells, and we are still ongoing. And out of that, we've been able to have 1 successful well, giving about 7 megawatts equivalent. And then we've then moved to another prospect that is in Maringo Silali area. And we've done exploration in a place called Paka. We've done the first 3 exploration wells, and we have very exciting results. We did our third well that was discharged in about 2 months ago, has given us very nice hope on the prospect of Paka. We've already started drilling in the next prospect, which is Korosi. We are almost 70% to our target, and we are also going to start yet another well in Korosi in January. Now in Suswa, as you are aware, we were able to win the arbitration case that we had, and we are in very advanced stages of then also going there to try and see whether we can be able to get the work started. But all in all as well, we also have equipment and other facilities that we are offering in the region, and I think we have one of the best tools and equipments in well logging and testing equipment, which we also have a simulating machine that we have in Menengai. So when you look at it from the whole menu of services that one would want to have within the geothermal sector, they actually reside within GDC. So I think those are big milestones for GDC to celebrate.
Just before we move on to another topic at large, you spoke of 2 key major investments that you've been able to undertake in Menengai as well as at Silali, Baringo. You even met the Baringo governor a while back. How big it is? Talking of numbers, talking of what you intend to achieve there, how big are the 2 investments?
Now, when you look at Baringo Silali, the entire prospect, that is what is estimated as the potential, is about 3,000 megawatts. Yes, but we are entering in the first phase of harnessing 100 megawatts in Paka, another 100 in Silali, and another 100 in Korosi. That's our phase 1. But we intend ultimately to be able to see if we can harness the entire 3,000 megawatts in Baringo Silali. And the other thing that was exciting for us, and that is also what we are doing with the other county governments that this unique resource resides in, is that we are in very good, we are in talking, and we have also signed collaboration agreements, especially with the county governor of Nakuru, and we intend to do the same with Turkana and Baringo and Kajiado and Narok, with the intention of seeing whether we can be able to harness that resource, what I talked about, direct use, with a view of having resource parks. What in Kenya you can call industrial parks, but in geothermal we call it a resource park, where then we can be able to attract industries that can particularly get this steam at the temperatures that is convenient to their industry and set up industries within the geothermal area. So that was what informed our engagement the other day with the county governor of Baringo.
You mentioned earlier as we were starting that GDC, when it was founded 12 years ago, it was more of a plan for the future. Is the future here? Is GDC playing its role now in ensuring that we never see blackouts and, the troubles that we've had with energy in the past are a thing of the past?
Thank you. I think GDC is playing its role. It's playing its role in this way, and I'm talking from the experience that I talked about from the off-taker. Geothermal energy is a base load. Base load meaning that it has the highest capacity factor. What do I mean is that it is basically a stable source of energy, unlike wind with all the variations. So second to hydro, geothermal provide also the cheapest source of energy. So when you tie those things from the off-taker perspective, then you see that the GDC then is providing the industry and especially the customers with a source that can be able to provide it with reliable supply, and also a source that can be able to provide it with cheap source of supply. So that only mitigates some of these challenges that the off-taker is having in terms of variability of power and the cost of power ultimately.
What challenges are you facing? How are you dealing with them?
The key challenges that one gets while prospecting and getting the resource, especially in geothermal, are basically three. The biggest challenge is land access and land acquisition. Because when you're prospecting and you're siting wells, you'll move from one location to another trying to drill. And therefore, to get land access and acquire this land sometimes becomes a bit challenging. Similarly, most of the resource, sometimes you find them in areas where sometimes you find community animosities in terms of boundaries and the like. So getting this access and a conducive environment for you to drill sometimes becomes a challenge. But I have to thank the national government and the security organs and various other stakeholders who have come in handy and assisted GDC in mitigating this challenge. The other challenge that we had, which we are trying to really mitigate now, is that our model of steam field plan, where the independent power producers come in at the end of production drilling, had its challenge because then it required certain financial instruments that were supposed to be provided by various stakeholders, the national government included. I'm talking about partial risk guarantees, letters of support, so that therefore then lenders who the IPPs were depending on can then come to financial close. So this has been a challenge, but I'm happy to report that we've had various interventions from various high-level government support to be able to see how we can move it to a point where these instruments can be provided to the independent power producers so they can come to financial close, and then they can be able to produce power. The other challenge that I can talk about is just the normal demand growth that you expect in terms of the sector growth, so that it can then afford GDC an opportunity to be able to sell its entire what do I call it? Its entire menu, as it were, or its entire capacity of steam to the off-taker. So those to me are the three challenges that I can say currently we have, but we are mitigating.
You mentioned that your engagements with the communities have been vibrant over time, because definitely you need land, you need to push your agenda as GDC. How have your CSR engagements been with communities?
Our CSR has been very good, because one thing is that our business model as a company incorporates CSR. So as a social corporate, we engage with our stakeholders. So we've involved ourselves into providing water when there's drought. We've involved ourselves in providing scholarships to underprivileged children. We've engaged in providing ambulance, maybe a place like Bahati Dispensary, because those are the communities that reside around Menengai. We have an ambulance that we've provided and we operate in Bahati Dispensary. We've done a similar ambulance provision in Baringo. Now we are at Paka and Korosi. We have an ambulance that we've provided. We've provided some support to schools, ECDs and the like. But most importantly, recently also, we got involved with the communities of influence where we are working when this pandemic came about, and we provided certain provisions to members who are affected with the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. So we've actually involved ourselves in various CSR activities. But also what we've done is that in our project we've also inbuilt certain corporate social responsibilities within the projects. Like in Baringo Silali, as part and parcel of the project, we've put in 20 community watering points where the communities where we are doing the prospecting can come and get clean water which has been purified for their own domestic use, and also realizing that they are pastoralists in their own cultural lifestyle. We've also provided for them 20 troughs for livestock watering within that prospect. So these are some of the corporate social responsibilities that we've been able to inbuild within the projects. Yes.
You earlier mentioned that you intend to serve the full menu, that is what you project to generate in the coming years very soon. Let's talk about perhaps Baringo. You are right now sourcing up to 100 megawatts of power. You intend to reach 3,000 megawatts. How soon or how long can that take?
I'll take you to the Vision 2030. The Vision 2030 had aspired, if I can use that word, to provide over 5,000 megawatts. 2,488 megawatts of which was supposed to be geothermal. And out of that 2,400, about 50%, that is 1,065, was supposed to be done by GDC. So when you look at it and then now you come to Baringo Silali, if we can bring to fruition by 2030, and we are planning that we can bring it even earlier, is 300 megawatts that will come from Baringo Silali, that is Paka, Korosi and Silali. Now already 170 megawatts is already ready for independent power producers in Menengai. We intend to have another 60 megawatts in phase 2, and as I'm speaking now, tomorrow we have environmental impact assessment study report that we are going to have public participation by NEMA in Tulop Moi Primary School in Rongai, with a view of then getting public participation. We get land access so that we can continue the prospects of the 60 megawatts. And then after that, we are going to have another 100 megawatts in Menengai. And now, if you now come to the prospect that we talked about in Suswa, another 300 megawatts. So I believe that if we go with the same speed and we get the kind of funding that we are anticipating, we should be able to meet our target of 1,650 by 2030.
The Jubilee administration, which definitely you serve under, has a Big Four agenda. Can you say that you've played your role in the achievement or the projected achievement of the Big Four?
Certainly, I think GDC has, and I'll take 3 big buckets, if I may. One is the whole issue about affordable power, which I talked about earlier, by the mere fact that we are providing a reliable source of power and also a cheap source of generating power. Therefore, we are providing affordable power. Affordable power certainly will affect all the 4 areas, be it health, housing, manufacturing, and the other one is agriculture. All of them will benefit from affordable energy. The other one is the direct use, which I talked about. In direct use, we have an ability to be able to have greenhouses, for instance, which are going to be powered by geothermal steam. And we have a pilot in Menengai, which we want to bring to commercialization. The moment we do that, and we can be able to then attract an investor or investors, then we can be able to mitigate on agriculture. When now you come to manufacturing, We also talked about the same direct use. If we are going to put in resource parks then will be able to provide industries. There will be leather industry, pasteurizing industry. There will be people who might want to use geothermal steam to maybe produce cement and a wide range of industries. So that one will also have an impact in manufacturing. So I believe then GDC will have an impact on the Big Four agenda.
And we hope it's just about the start.
No, it certainly is, and it's exciting. The journey is exciting, and we are going to achieve this mandate, I can assure you.
Thank you so much. That brings us to the end of the interview. And again, thank you for making time for us.
And thank you for having me. Thank you.